For your company, the details now. Parliament has finally approved the Right to Information Bill after 2 decades. The President will assent to it soon to make it operational. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo was in Parliament Tuesday night when the bill was passed. There's more in this report he put together.
And consistent with the protection of the public interest in a democratic society to foster a culture of transparency and accountability in public affairs and to provide for related matters. Honourable members, Right to Information Bill 2018 is now read the third time and passed.
That was how Parliament approved the RTI bill around 8:30 p.m. Tuesday night, with Second Deputy Speaker Alban Bagbin presiding.
This is a landmark achievement, and I must say I am myself very, very happy that at long last Right to Information Bill has now survived in this House. The process started in 1999.
After several missed deadlines, the battle is now over. Earlier, Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu attempted stopping the approval processes to allow for further amendments to accommodate fresh petitions by civil society groups, but he withdrew after the majority insisted it should be passed.
Take note that I was seeking to do this for and on behalf of the coalition who wanted to see an improved legislation so that this bill will serve a better purpose to combat corruption and to help government deal with it.
Chairman of Parliament's Constitution and Legal Affairs Committee, Ben Abdallah, had this response.
The coalition, my good self, have had the occasion to sit and discuss their proposed amendment. And Mr. Speaker, the conclusion that we came to at the end of the day, the absence of their proposed amendment in this bill as currently constituted, Mr. Speaker, would not occasion any damage to the bill. The point has to be made clearly, without deference to the minority leader, that the impression also to be created as if it is the minority, it is the minority that is concerned about the proposed amendment that has been submitted by the coalition.
Majority Leader Seiche Mensabonsu.
No law that we have crafted in this House is sacrosanct. There can always be space once we start implementing and we find it worthy to amend.
Information Minister Kujopon Nkrumah says the President will assent it soon.
From about 2007, when the initial draft was done during the tenure of the 4th Parliament, the 5th and 6th Parliament have had opportunity to handle the bill, but finally, on the tenure of the 7th Parliament, it's been passed. The next steps are to get presidential assent to the bill, and then also to very quickly move towards implementation, particularly of the behind-the-scenes infrastructure, so that by the time we start the next financial year, as the current law says, we'll be ready to see it fully. So I think that's the good news. Parliament will have to tidy up the final draft of the bill and then transmit it to the Office of the President, and the President has mentioned that he would proceed to sign it off immediately he receives it.
So that's what happened in Parliament last night. The Media Coalition for the passage of the Right to Information Bill is unhappy with the numerous restrictions in the law passed yesterday. They say the law in its current form has too many restrictions. Senior Research Officer at the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition, Bright, who joins me over the telephone for some perspectives on this. Good morning, Bright. Thank you for your time.
Good morning to all your listeners.
Great to have you. Your coalition is not happy with portions of the law. Can you highlight some of these?
So, well, let me say generally we are happy that the law has been passed, but as you mentioned, we do have some reservations. And since you are talking about exemptions, I'd like to go straight to that. One of the most pregnant ones for us is Clause 13, which talks about the fact that you are unable to access any information that is undergoing some deliberation. In other words, if an institution of state is still doing work or where you're currently ongoing a particular information that you want to access, that you're unable to, access that information. We do understand the need for exemptions. I mean, every part of the world, the right information, there's certain information that is exempt. But in this particular case, the reason why we are worried about such a clause is that the implicit understanding will be that if they are done with the deliberative process, then the information can be made available to you. But often, if you do not capture this explicitly in the law, that can become a problem with the status, put at permanently put on, in deliberative status over a long period of time. That can deny access to that particular information. So some of the issues in there, we still have some reservations, some of that. And as far as exemptions are concerned, Clause 30 is one of the ones we're hoping that some amendments could have been made. Unfortunately, we were not able to make progress with that until the bill got passed in Parliament.
Indeed, that was a matter of debate on the floor yesterday when Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu raised the issues or your proposal for the amendment of some of these clauses. We heard Chairman of Parliament's Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee, Mr. Abdullah, just say that they had, as a chair of the commission, he had sat with the coalition or media coalition on RTI, and you had agreed sort of that the law should be passed, and then we can probably follow some other procedures to amend these clauses that you have issues with. Did that meeting ever occur?
I think that particular meeting, I know that we have a lot of meetings in the Parliament over the course of deliberating over this. I was in particular, I cannot speak the very fact raised by the honourable member. But all I can say is that at the beginning of this and through the process, we have submitted quite a list of changes that have to be done. And yes, Parliament accepted some of these changes were done. The ones we're talking about are mostly the ones that were not reflected before the bill was passed by Parliament.
Would you have rather wished that Parliament amended these clauses before passing?
It's always a lot better if you could have the law itself passed in a substantive form with all the effects that you think would make it an extremely potent law. Of course, it could be amended, there could be regulations, certain instances, certain concerns that probably sort of cater to some of the concerns that we have. But the first choice and the first option that will have the substantive law that is passed in a form that is potent, a form that we believe will make it an effective regime.
Mr. So we've heard the Information Minister give us a breakdown of what is likely to happen. Parliament will have to polish up the bill, send to the President. He's going to give his accent to the bill. What next for the media coalition on RTI after the passage?
We are looking more at a sensitization education point. There is no need passing the law when citizens do not understand it and cannot basically use the law. So we are looking at sensitization education to media, to society organizations, to the entire citizen of Ghana, for them to understand that's what is contained in the law, particularly the procedure for accessing information, because all of this is detailed in the law. And we feel unable to do that effective education, they might have the law, but still not be able to use it. So it's important to reach out to everybody and for them to understand what is contained in the law and how they can use it to empower themselves with information from them.
How do you intend to do this sensitization and education you talk about?
Well, it's not anything very different for us. I mean, we do these things through workshops, through seminars, through platforms that we already use in reaching out to citizens. So it's not that we have a bill that's something that's in more or less a very final form. It even makes it easier. Prior to the passage, we had already deliberated with citizens and rest of society organizations to collect their views, into the deliberative process in getting the law passed. Now that we have something that's just about going back to this and using the same platform to say this is what is passed in the final form, this is what is in it. If you want to access information, this is how you go about it. But also we also need to sensitize them, let them know that implementation might not, begin a full force as probably they might expect, because right information means that public institutions need to have a very good data information storage and retrieval system. And we know public institutions all of them don't really have that. So it also requires that we sensitize our citizens on the expectations, at least within the short term, on what sort of information we want to access or how we want to go about getting this information.
Now, finally, we are told by lawyers and critics of our judicial system that we are very good as a country when it comes to passing laws, but the implementation is the problem. What do you think we can do differently with regards to this particular law so that we can indeed see the benefits of having this RTI bill passed into law?
The coalition has already agreed that the law passage as big as it is just the first step. there's a lot of advocacy effort that needs to be done. Particularly, we need to monitor how government strengthens the institutions to go to basically play their part in giving information. Like I mentioned, we are aware that a lot of the institutions, do not have a very good data storage and retrieval system. And since the law makes provisions for both soft and hard copy, it also means that these IT systems need to be up to date, which means that from 2020, we continue to monitor and see how much resources being pushed to be able to strengthen this institution. So this is, as we mentioned, as they have mentioned, the first part of it. To vote together institutions where the vote effectively do their part, which is supplying the information, will take a lot of work, it might take a number of years. It also means that you have to continue to monitor and advocate for these votes to make it happen. And we are poised to do that.
Thank you very much for your time this morning. Bright Sue is with the Media Coalition on RTI, giving his thoughts and comments on history that was made last night when Parliament passed the 2-decade-old RTI bill into law.